what's happening. Divorce rates are higher. The LGBTQ community, trans community are being strengthened right now. People don't like masculinity here. They're pushing for feminism and all that and a lot of other things. They don't fear God anymore. Welcome to the How Much More stories, where we look at the good in us to see the how much more in God. Welcome everyone. Right now, as I'm recording this, it's 10:40 p.m. Wednesday night, just the night before I upload it tomorrow, Thursday morning at 7 a.m. But I'm excited to share the things that I want to share with you because I actually just came back from a 7 days road trip from Maryland to West Virginia to Columbus, Ohio, and then we went to Cincinnati, Ohio, and then going down to Kentucky to see the Ark experience where they recreated the Noah's Ark. It was beautiful, I tell you that. I'm gonna share all of these things with you soon. And then from Kentucky, we met some friends of Shani, workmates in the Philippines, who's now here in the US too, in Tennessee, and we stayed at a cabin. Beautiful, beautiful place. We even saw black bears and baby cubs with that black bear. So that was fun. And then after that, we went down even farther south in Atlanta, Georgia, where we enjoyed the world of Coca-Cola and the Olympic Park, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and then State Farm Stadium Arena. It was fun. And then after that, we drove back up to South Carolina, and then North Carolina is where we slept. And then from North Carolina, we drove to Virginia, and then back here in Maryland. So that was fun. That was I enjoyed the drive. I enjoyed looking at God's wonderful creation. It felt like home sometimes because of the mountainous areas that we went through, just like Baguio City in the Philippines. And so I'm still recording this because I made a commitment to myself. I made a commitment to God that every week I'll be uploading videos to help you see the God of how much more in our lives, in our everyday life. And I'm also excited because as I was driving, I kept on listening to not music because that makes me fall asleep, but I was listening to news. I was listening to what's happening in the culture here in the US, studying the culture because we're still new in this place, in this country, and so I'm trying to understand how the people in this country think, especially that right now they're about to vote for the next president of the United States next month. So that's happening. I was listening in the policies that they're bringing, both parties, and I was just reflecting on the things that's happening in the culture here. And I believe that's also relevant in what's happening back home in the Philippines. I saw in my statistics that the people who listen in this videos and watch these videos rather are mostly from the US, and a bunch of you guys are also from the Philippines. So that's nice. And I believe that what's happening here in the US always affects the things in the culture that you guys have in the Philippines. It seems like the US is just 5 years ahead, and the things that are happening now will also happen 5 years after in the Philippines. And so these things are very relevant. And as I was listening, as I was studying the culture, I was studying the people, I was studying what's happening here in the US, not just in the culture in general, but even in the culture in churches. What's happening? A lot of things are happening. Divorce rates are higher than the previous years, previous decades. The LGBTQ community, the trans community are being really strengthened right now. Masculinity is being not really, how would I say this, but people don't like masculinity here. They like femininity, and they're pushing for feminism and all that, which I'll talk about in the future, and a lot of other things that is not in line with the God of how much more that we love and serve. And so as I was driving and would even have moments by myself and with God, I was seeking God, and I was actually reminded that as I try to understand the culture and what's happening around me right now, it has happened before. I realized that in the book of Judges, remember that repeated phrase in the book of Judges, that they did what was evil in the eyes of God. That means that they do things that satisfies themselves and not satisfy and please God. They do things that they have become so fearless. They don't fear God anymore. They don't fear anyone. But they want to satisfy themselves. And I believe that's what's happening here in the US, largely here in the US, and a lot of things also happening in the Philippines that affects, or rather that is true with what happened in the book of Judges. People are doing things that are evil in the sight of God just because they want the temporary satisfaction, just because they want to satisfy their own flesh and desires. And they care not about the holy God. And so as I was reflecting upon that, I had this idea. I was seeking God. I was praying to God. God, what do you want me to share with the people who watch this video and the people who will listen to this video? Then I realized, and this will be an 8-part series, so this is exciting. That's why I still wanted to record. I still wanted to share these things with you, because we have to bring back our fear of God. We should not be living a life with no fear, but we should live a life fearing God. Now, what is that fear of God? The definition of the fear of God is actually very simple: reverence, awe, and respect for God's holiness that is distinct from human fear. It's not like we fear another person, but it's fearing God because He is a holy God. When we fear God, we start making the right decisions, right? And the foundation of this series that we're going to have is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7, where it says, the fear of the Lord is what? The beginning of wisdom. And fools despise wisdom and instruction. If we want to make wise decisions, if we want to say no to temptations, if we want to make wise decisions in times of struggle and pain, we should fear God. And when we fear God, we become wise. You see, it all boils down to losing that fear of God. And when we, as a culture, as a nation here in the US and in the Philippines, when we stop fearing God, we make foolish decisions. We make decisions like redefining marriage because we don't fear God anymore. We make decisions like ending marriage and divorcing our spouse because we don't fear God anymore. We follow our fleshly desires, saying that, yes, I am biologically a man, but I am actually a woman inside. We do those things because we stop fearing God and how He designed us and how He planned our lives to be. Right? We do all of these things that are just out of this world. We do evil things because we don't fear God. Even in the life of the church today, sometimes we are dragging down Jesus into a level of, hey, Jesus is my homeboy, He's not. He's our friend, yes. But He is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn among creation, of all creation. He is the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. He is holy, He is righteous. He is seated at the right hand of God. We should always approach Him with reverence, with fear and awe of His holiness. And so for starting this with this video and with the series that we're gonna have 8 episodes of this, I'm going to give practical applications. And here's today's practical application. I want you to write down, reflect and write down. Don't just type, but I've gotten into a habit of writing down my thoughts and reflections because it allows me to slow things down. It allows me to really think and really reflect and be reminded of the things that I write. So I encourage you, write it down. In the past week, how have you approached God in your prayer time and worship? Be honest. If you've been so over familiar with the presence of God, write it down. And you make it intentional and recognize this week the holiness of God. As you write down how you've been approaching God in your prayer and worship and study of His Word, then write down the things that you want to change, knowing that our God is holy, righteous, that Jesus is our King of Kings and Lord of Lords, that we don't just approach Him with, whatever mentality or just lackluster, not giving our best, but we approach Him with reverence and awe because He is a holy God. Write down your reflections, and I encourage you all, beginning now, moving forward, let us fear God so that we will become wise. Thank you for watching this video. If you've not yet subscribed, subscribe now so that you'll be notified next week as I upload the next episode of this series, Being Fearful of God. Thank you so much. Share this video with a friend that you want to journey with. Comment down your reflections. That would encourage me and encourage others as well. Thank you for watching, and God bless you all.